Breaking Bread is brought to you by North York Community House, an organization that builds strong, resilient, and inclusive communities in Northwest Toronto.
It's time for a shift. This is the shift. Big change, big things in the phase. Yeah. Big change, big things.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shannon, and I'll be your host for today's episode of Breaking Bread Stories of Black Communities in Transition. Our limited podcast series seeks to take a deeper dive into redevelopment and uncover the truth about this phenomenon in the city of Toronto. Throughout this journey, we'll be speaking to residents, community leaders, and industry experts to shed light on the experiences of those living through these major transitions, providing further insight into the real consequences of urban redevelopment. This is episode 7 of Breaking Bread Stories of Black Communities in Transition.
Yeah, this is the shift. Big change, big things in the phase. Yeah, big change, big things in the phase. Yeah, big change, big things in the phase. Yeah,
In the past couple of episodes, we started to unpack and explore exactly what equitable redevelopment looks like in the context of Toronto. Trudy Ann Powell, a resident and community leader of Lawrence Heights, and Anika Mark from Black Urbanism Toronto enlighten us on what equitable redevelopment looks like in their respective communities and how they're ensuring decision makers are being held accountable. Today, to continue this conversation, we'll be talking about mobilization, specifically pertaining to how residents, leaders, and community groups organize community presence. How do they do this? Is it sustainable? When you're developing a campaign, is it actionable? How do you ensure you're getting those in positions of power to listen?
So yes, thank you, Beryl-Ann, for coming on today to share your, knowledge and the wealth of experience you have, especially with relating to mobilization and community organizing. I'm pretty sure you have a lot to share with us. So, Beryl-Ann, could you please introduce yourself? I'm very curious to know more about you and also to know a bit more of the community or communities you've been working in and organizing in. And what are some of the characteristics of this neighborhood that you work in?
Sure, I'll be happy to tell you. My name is Beryl-Ann Mark, and I live in the Parkdale community. I've been living here for the past 29 years, and I'm a community leader. I'm part of a mutual aid group called Parkdale Pod Leaders. I'm a social service worker, and I'm passionate about helping and supporting people alleviate their pain points.
Okay, the pain points. Could you speak more about the pain points? What do you mean by pain points?
Sometimes people are struggling with certain issues in their life. Sometimes a relationship breakup, or sometimes the loss of a loved one. So I utilize different tactics and strategies to help them minimize their pain and headache and hassle and stress.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Okay.
And you say you lived in Parkdale for 29 years, Could you describe Parkdale, for those listeners there that, are not as familiar with Toronto? Like, what is Parkdale like and what's been happening in Parkdale?
Well, Parkdale, it has about 90% of the people who live in Parkdale are renters. And Parkdale have the largest number of Tibetan outside of Nepal. So Parkdale has the largest number of Tibetan outside of Nepal. And Parkdale have the largest number of people who live alone in South Parkdale, in the whole of the city of Toronto.
Really? Wow, I did not know that. I knew the Tibetan thing because there's many Tibetan restaurants, restaurants in Parkdale, but yeah, I didn't realize there was such a high number of renters and also, single households as well too, people who live alone. So that must be, really important as well too, especially with I'm guessing all the redevelopment that's happening right now in Parkdale. And I can imagine that type of redevelopment impacting people who, especially people who live alone in those areas as well too.
And some of the characteristics of the neighborhood. So there is about over 70 planters that have present and past Parkdale residents photographs imprinted on the concrete basis. So if you walk from and Queen and Jameson to down to Springers and Jameson, you'll see planters with people pictures, present residents and past residents on it.
Oh,
So
like
that's
planters with like planting soil
yes,
and
yes, they have
oh,
trees
people's
inside the planters.
faces.
Yes, they have pictures on the planters. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's nice to see the people who used to live in Parkdale
Mhm.
or who are currently living in Parkdale.
Oh, really? Wow. Has that always been there for a while?
Yes, it has been there for a while,
Really?
for many years. Yes.
I've never noticed that.
Mhm.
Well, maybe probably next time I walk down Parkdale, now I have to make sure and
Yeah,
pay
you look at those
attention. It's
amazing
like, oh,
faces. Yeah,
yeah, because I've been in Parkdale quite
yeah.
a
I
lot.
recognize this person. So then I'm walking and I don't know this person.
Yeah,
I recognize this person.
yeah. Because sometimes I go there, but like by alleys and
Yeah, so
all
if
the
you're walking
restaurants
on
there.
Jameson or if you're driving on Jameson, you'll see, look at the
Yeah.
paintings and see some of the faces that used to live in Parkdale
Wow.
or are currently living in Parkdale.
That's pretty
And
cool.
thank you. And Parkdale Collegiate is one of the oldest high school in the city of Toronto. So it's a very old school.
Really?
I know
Wow.
many, people who are my age or older who have gone to Parkdale Colleges. So I know it's a very old school.
Oh, wow.
My eldest child went there. He spent his
Oh,
last year there at
oh,
Parkdale Collegiate Institute.
oh, well, that's
And
great.
Parkdale was once was the wealthiest district in the city of Toronto.
Really?
Yeah. So it was, I mean, people wouldn't, it's probably hard for people to believe that Parkdale was one of the wealthiest district at one point in time.
Okay.
Especially so then when you look at it now or
Mhm.
past when I moved to it, you see a lot of drug dealers and
Mhm.
prostitutions and drug users, but now it has changed too.
Mm, interesting. And do
Yes.
you
So,
happen to know what led to those changes? I know it probably happened a while ago, but
well, I think the mental institution when
Mhm.
Carmage had closed its doors, a lot of people were moved to the communities without social supports.
Uh,
So of course, and then some of the Polish people who were living here when their children went off to university, they decided to rent out, they create rooming houses, and they move out mostly to High Park. Sorry, they moved to High
okay.
Park to live in High Park, and so they and then of course now we're going through the gentrification.
Mhm. So you worked with the
Parkdale
Parkdale People
Yeah, I used to work
Economy
with
for a
Parkdale
while?
People Economy, yes,
Okay.
and so I could give you some of the insights
Yeah, yeah, that'd be
of my
great.
role
Thank you.
there. So
Yes.
initially, thank you. So initially, when I started working at Parkdale People Economy, they hired me to help with the mutual aid work. So they had reached out to residents with the onset of the pandemic, uh, the COVID-19 pandemic. They reached out to residents through the newsletter to ask them if they would like to be part of a phone tree where they create pod leaders and the pod leaders create pod members, which is pod leaders reaching out to residents or people on the street or their neighbors to find out if they would like help with groceries, because some people were COVID-19 positive, some people were elderly, and they were scared to get outside, or anyone in general. One of the things that when we started the mutual aid network, we said we're not going to judge people. We're going to, whether you're wealthy or not, if you decide to ask for groceries, you need help with groceries, it's up to you. And so we started a mutual aid network to help residents in our community. Of course, we move up. Eventually, we initially had started with a grant from the city that Parkdale People got in. We had a grant from the city, and they started that mutual aid network. So they were able to buy the groceries for residents. Then we did started a GoFundMe, and from the GoFundMe, we decide we're gonna move to a more sustainable model, which is whatever come in our community, whatever people share with us, we're gonna share it with each other rather than you know asking for handout or doing fundraising.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I'm guessing this is really important work to you, was it?
Absolutely. So the work was really important to me because I had the opportunity to, you know, help with the process of providing groceries for people who needed food to eat because either they were COVID-19 positive or they were elderly or they just didn't have enough money to buy food to eat because maybe they lost their job. And I was just excited too and happy that people in my community were getting the help they need with groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And the pod members, they let the pod leaders know that they were truly grateful for the groceries. So that was a great motivator for me to continue doing what I did. So
Yeah, that's great. That's a great motivation is important and that rewarding feeling after. I'm pretty sure helped you
I
with your
agree.
work. Helped you with work. I mean, the work is important, but knowing that you help people out as well too is a big factor
Yeah.
as well too, because motivation is very vital, very key, especially in doing like community work like this. Because it's
Mhm.
so easy to get burnt out, so easy when things seem hard and you feel like you're going nowhere in community
Mhm.
work, but just knowing that you're helping people out and having that feeling of and that rewarding feeling is really important too and helps drive
Yeah.
your work.
And I always, yeah, and when I think of the why to Shannon,
Mm-hmm.
why I was doing it, that was my great motivator, that I
Mm-hmm.
know that families were being fed, people were truly grateful that some of them didn't have the money, and during the pandemic time, it was a time of uncertainty. So just thinking of why I was doing it, that was really helpful to me. Plus, I was
Yeah.
getting paid.
It was that's the important part as well to getting paid for your
I
work.
was getting paid to do, yeah, I was getting paid to do something that I love. Wow, it doesn't get
Yeah,
better
yeah.
than that.
Yeah, that's an extra plus. That's an extra plus there.
Yes.
So, how have you or Parkdale organized and motivated community residents in your work and, engaging in the community work that you do?
Right. So every couple months, Pack the People Economy, they have a community planning meeting, and which consists of agencies, organizations, and Parkdale residents. And so they give us an update on what they're doing. Right, currently, they are doing a community survey on businesses and residents to see, what residents' needs are, what people would like to experience in their community. And so every couple of months, they have that meeting. And so that's how they're able to successfully engage with residents. And because of the mutual aid network, and so we have a whole group of us that attend the meeting, and then over the years there is residents who they have encountered at various events, and so they have the email address and they have the phone number, so they'll send them um, invitations for the meeting. And so that's how we're able to you know organize you know with residents in our community. Even around, when I think of the community benefits agreement, again, Pack the People Economy, at the meetings, towards the end of the meeting, usually they ask residents or organizations or agency if they have any upcoming events or activity that they're doing. So people have the opportunity to share. So for instance, I know at one of the meeting, they let residents know that they're going to be starting a coalition for the Justice for Queens Hotel, which was a hotel at 1521 Queen Street West, where in 2015, 27 people were unlawfully evicted. And so the company, Bizarre, who unlawfully had people evict those tenants, eventually the coalition took them to the tribunal, and they were able to have a financial settlement for the residents who were living at the property. So that was really awesome thing, that in terms of residents, collaborating and working together to help residents. So oftentimes, Pack the People Economy reach out to residents to let them know this is what they're doing. Like, for instance, they started a coalition which is called Justice for Queens Hotel. to just help the residents who were unlawfully evicted at the property. So
Yeah, that's great. It's always great when you see people come together for a common cause or shared cause for the greater good. You mentioned that, residents working together and residents working with residents. In your role or within Parkdale, have you worked with any like agencies or organizations or other communities or grassroots groups?
So I've worked with Parkdale People's Economy, and currently I work at West Neighborhood House. And so we collaborate and work on different projects. So for instance, Parkdale People Economy is doing the survey because they did it in 2015. 2016, I think they did it. And so 3 years later, they decided to expand on the survey, just to see what residents' needs are or what they would like to experience, like I said, in their community.
Okay, that's great. That's pretty great. Yeah. So what tools or techniques have you implemented to engage, your community and do all this work that you spoke about before?
Like I said, when Parkdale People Economy have the community planning meeting, they would let us know what they're doing. So then, of course, they encourage us to tell others. So word of mouth, that's some of the techniques that we have used. Of course, Parkdale People Economy, they inform people through social media, or sometimes some of the residents, they would share events or information on social media. One of the things we do too, if we have any upcoming events, we do postering in our neighborhood. So we go out and do a lot of postering on Queen and King Street.
That's great. And you usually get a lot of people involved and a lot of people tend to come to like these meetings and events.
Yeah, so Parkdale People Economy, they use they share it in the newsletter, or share it on social media, and we do the postering, and of course we do word of mouth. So we tell people, we encourage people to attend, because we know that they input what they have to say, their voice is important to us.
And what has helped to keep the community engaged for this many years? You have continuous redevelopment, a lot of stuff happening, and it seems like things keep happening over and over and over. And sometimes I've seen in many cases where people just feel burnt out. They feel like this is too much, and they just like, but sometimes they remove themselves. You're laughing. It seems like you relate. They too much, and it's, for me, at least from an outside view, it seems like Parkdale has done so much, and the community just keeps staying engaged, keeps staying motivated, and can you give a bit of insight into that?
Sure, Shannon. We have some amazing agencies and organizations here in Parkdale, and plus the library is one of the biggest partner for Parkdale People Economy. So to have events there, they often utilize the library, or Greenwich City, they utilize their spaces also, and so. And PNLT, Parkdale Neighborhood Land Trust, it's one of the biggest partners of Parkdale People's Economy. So it's awesome that they all could collaborate and share information with people who utilize the service and resources. And of course, our mutual aid network here in Parkdale that we started. We have a WhatsApp chat group. So we started a WhatsApp. Mercedes at Parkdale People Economy started a WhatsApp chat group. So that's one way we are able to share information and share resources with each other. For instance, there was a shooting a couple months ago here in Parkdale, and I could easily create a video and share it with people in the WhatsApp chat group. Or for instance, if I got through a program, I got some food boxes from Food Share, and I was able to reach out to the pod leaders to ask them who would like to distribute some to their pod members. We share, if there's events or activities that's happening, for instance, vaccine clinics that's happening in our community. Some of the pod leaders who are vaccine ambassadors, which I want to be able to share that information with each other in our WhatsApp chat group. So that's one way that that's a few ways, that we're able to share what we have with each other and to engage with residents in our community. And so, and one of the things we do as pod leaders, we tend to be very transparent, and we love to share. We're caring people, and we're always looking at ways to, seeking ways and implementing different things to help improve, residents' lives and our community. So I like to think we want what is best for each other, for ourselves and each other.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That's great. It's great that, there's a high level of presence, agency presence there where you're able to like use their spaces, agencies, organizations. You mentioned the library, you're able to use their
Mhm.
spaces for resident meetings and community work,
And
but
events and
and
activities. Yeah.
events. Yeah, it's great having
Mhm.
that access to that space and being able to have these relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even Greenwich City, they have a community garden, and so we have in the summertime, we are in the fall or spring, we have outdoor events. We utilize their garden. All we have to do is just ask them. So it's really nice. We don't have too many spaces here in Parkdale, but the few that we have, all we have to do is just ask for us to
Yeah.
utilize it. So we have a picnic or
That sounds great. I'm
Mhm.
from what you're saying, the mutual aid pods also help with, disseminating information, but also keeping people involved and keeping them motivated as well. So mutual
Exactly.
aid has a really big impact in community organizing as well too, and a
Mhm.
positive one at that too.
I agree. And the beauty of it is because we started the mutual aid network here in Parkdale, the city get a hold of it. And so they decide they want to expand the mutual aid network across the city of Toronto. And so they created a pilot project where they had coordinators in different parts of the city expand the mutual aid network, which is, things that come into the community. Coordinators were able to share it with agencies, organizations, and residents. So that's a beautiful thing about it when, the city get a hang of things, and especially expanding the mutual aid network. Really excited
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So it
Mhm.
was Parkdale that inspired the city to do that mutual aid network.
Exactly.
Now I know. Now I know.
Yes, exactly.
That's
What
fantastic.
spread?
Yes. Okay. Well, you all are the innovators, I see. Perfect. So, yeah, moving on to the last question here. So, how have decision makers respond to your community's, demands and the work that you do?
Well, when I think of it, and I will mention it earlier, that Bizarre, the developer, who it had people unlawfully evict residents at 1521 Queen Street West, pack the people economy. They see the injustice because what happened is a lot of the tenants were utilizing Parkdale Activity Recreation Center resources, but because park is a space for people who are have mental health challenges, could go there and to have a meal 3 days a week, have 3 meals a day, have a shower, see a social worker, get clothing. And so the staff at Park, they saw the injustice that happened to these tenants. And so Parkdale Neighborhood Land Trust, they're the one that encourage and Parkdale Public Economy encourage residents or even the tenants to form a coalition to fight back against Bazaar, the developer. I know the city had fined them $14,000, and then the coalition was asking them to replace the units, the 27 units, at have people when they do, if they do develop the building, could they have 27 build 27 units for a deeply affordable prices? And so they didn't want to do that, so they did a cash settlement. So it just goes to show you how strong people are in terms of pushing back at these developers. And I know one of the pod leaders at her building, the landlord will unlawfully evicting people. They, she and others, she and other residents, they decide to have a rally, and there are tons of people, hundreds of people who showed up to fight back against the landlord. So, and then now at 1375 Queen Street West, the corner of Queen and Close, still is putting up a development there. And they found a coalition again to fight back at scale, to say, hey, could you include some affordable housing? And of course, they're pushing back and say no. And so the coalition is saying, if you're not going to put affordable housing at the property, then no development. So a lot of work is around coalition, organizing, and residents, fighting for justice.
That is great as the power of the people.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
exactly.
Great as the power of the people, right?
Yeah.
And it's great to have those strength in numbers to hold people accountable. So that's the important part there as well too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add or speak about?
Well, I would share, Shannon, that I love the community of Parkdale. And the beauty of Parkdale is, if you're dealing with some type of difficult situation, there's somebody who would see your plight or hear about your plight and reach out to help you and support you. And when I think of Park, what they do for residents in Parkdale, giving them 3 meals a day or giving them the opportunity to have a shower or talk with a counselor, I think this is awesome. So I am truly grateful for the residents who live in Parkdale and who are able to fight the injustice that some people experience, especially with those developers.
Yeah, it sounds like, the residents of Parkdale have a close bond and are able to work together to really mobilize and get things done and support other people in the community. And
Yes.
that is very, very essential, the core aspect of community work and community development in general. And it's great that you
Right.
guys have that.
Thank you. And the thing, another beauty is that when you let people know about what you're experiencing and you let them know what you would like that happen or you would like to experience, oftentimes they are willing to help you and support you and see how they could help you resolve your issue. So that's the beauty of Parkdale. People, they get together and help each other and support each other.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you so much, Beryl-Ann. You've provided some great insights. It was really interesting hearing about your experiences, hearing what's going on in Parkdale, especially with all the mutual aid stuff, and you're being innovators, working together and continuing to, set precedents for other neighborhoods as well too. So yeah, thank you so much, Beryl-Ann.
Thank you, Shannon. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
This is the shift. Big change, big things in a phase. Yeah. Big change, big things in a phase. Yeah. Big change, big things in a phase. Yeah. A new phase. Yeah. This is the shift. Vibrations been raised.
This podcast is brought to you by North York Community House.